Obviously, NASCAR's had an imprint on Vegas in the past, but now with Formula One, has there been a little bit of a sea change of people's interest in it?
A little bit, yeah. There's a lot more stuff you see related to F1 around town, kind of like how you do with COTA.
Yeah.
You'll be downtown and see ads and things, but the locals aren't super big fans of it, unfortunately. But I think it's still made a good impact on the city.
Patrick Woods-Toth lines up, and this is the battle: Ryan Sheehan versus Patrick Woods-Toth. The Canadian, the youngster, the phenom. Interesting enough, he started the same way you did. He went to a race school. He went to the Radford School. You went to Skip Barber. Two very, very professionally run schools. How important was that to you getting into racing?
I think it was pretty important because I had some basic fundamentals from sim racing and track days, but to really get behind the wheel and drive on your own and learn things from a different perspective than having someone next to you in the car all the time, it gives you a good chance to improve because you have to go out. You really have to remember what you're learning as you get out there. Well,
listen, we've got a little bit of time as they head out on their formation lap. Will be a standing start. Tell us a little bit. Tell the audience, because I'm sure there's a few teenagers out there who are looking at this and thinking, "Oh, I'd love to do this, but it's just too expensive." But tell us, how do you? I mean, you mentioned sim there. How do you get into racing, and how would you advise somebody who said, "Look, I really like what I saw on Sunday, but how do I get into it?"
I mean, cost is a big factor. It is very expensive to be out here, and testing and things. It does get very expensive, but my family was supportive of me, and it was just great to have the opportunity to come out. Go into a racing school, you'll learn a lot of things, and it's a good way to meet the right people and get behind the wheel and really progress.
I've met a lot of really high-end sim racers, including Jan Mardenborough, who they made the film about, of course, on Gran Turismo. He was actually in his first race series for real. I was commentating on, and I got to know him and many others over the years. And I come to realize that, the rig, as you call it, can be expensive and sophisticated, but it doesn't have to be. You can start on a PlayStation with a controller and still have a good learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, my setup over the years has progressed from, a cheap wheel I got from GameStop to now having like a professional thing I've built in my own bedroom and just got really set up.
How much time do you put into it?
Building it or just driving on it?
Just driving it.
Almost every day, maybe an hour every day, just whether it's for fun or to practice before we come out to an event.
Yeah. And most of the tracks are there, whether it be iRacing or any other form of Forza maybe or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. And if you're listening and you're interested in getting into motor racing, there are race schools all around the country. Skip Barber, who just celebrated his 80th birthday, funnily enough, I was with Skip at Lime Rock, and he was telling me about his history. Just been inducted into the Hall of Fame for motorsport. Made it all the way to the dizzy heights of Formula One, but was never as well known as some of the guys that he was racing against. But his real claim to fame was to put his name on the race school and give others a chance to go racing, and that's what he's done. And it doesn't matter, some people who are in completely different professions will take the Skip Barber School and not be interested in going motor racing, just want to try the thrill of motor racing for real. So as you can see, they're approaching the grid where they will line up and get ready. Do you prefer a standing start or a rolling start like in karting?
I prefer a standing start. It's more fun. There's definitely more opportunity to get ahead,
sure,
because your reaction time means everything from this, and your preparation before you come into a lap. Rolling starts, everyone kind of has a similar advantage, and it gets pretty messy.
Now, the man on pole this time is Nicholas Ambiado, and he's got that pole by being the fastest man yesterday. And as you can see, he's put the car just kind of positioned slightly to come across to the middle of the grid. On come the lights. When they get to 5, they'll go out. Out they go, and away we go. Ambiado does exactly what I thought he would do. Comes across the line, trying to defend that position, because Ryan Sheehan dives across and takes the lead in the whole shot. The Ryan Sheehan, who won the race yesterday, is on great form this weekend, trying to extend that lead. He had a 6.5-point lead coming into the weekend after Indy last weekend, and then extended that yesterday with a win over Woods-Toth, and he's doing it again. That was a great start from Ryan Sheehan.
Yeah, very good. I know the clutch for starting these cars, it's pretty smooth, but the horsepower, it's hard to get the grip to the ground. So.
No kidding. Well, as we said, Barrett works with Crosslink Kiwi, and there's several entries out there. Sheehan, Woods, Toth, Jet Bowling, we haven't mentioned him yet. There he is in the O2. And just behind the 73 of your other mate, Matriano Lim. And Landon Matriano Lim and Jet Bowling, I was delighted to spend a fair few weeks in New Zealand as they did the FR Championship down under, and have now joined the FR Championship. So they've got some really good miles underneath them, and they're progressing. I've seen them come forward, both Jet Bowling and Matriano Lim, quickly, and I knew they would, because you get something like 3,000 kilometers of track time in that condensed series, and the same is true here in America. By the season's time's done, you've really got some track time, and you can work out whether it's worth progressing to the next level or saying, you know what, this is too expensive for me and I'm not winning. So a good start, a good clean start. 23 minutes on the clock, so it's going to be fast and furious. Barrett Wolf alongside me, Jonathan Green. We're looking at the 77 of James Lawley going through from Halifax, Canada. We've got Canadians, Texans, Floridians, and sadly, no Titus Sherlock this weekend, if you're a Titus Sherlock fan, because the man from Prosper, Texas had it off yesterday into the keyhole, damaged the car badly, and just decided, you know what, I think I'll sit it out for the rest of the weekend. And so Titus not involved in the race at the moment. Ooh, big lock up there, and that was Nicole Avada, who just locked up there. Another one of the Canadians involved. Nicole, former skier, now a racing aficionado, loving what she's doing, just 18 years of age, but learning every day. Struggling with oversteer at the beginning of the weekend, but she dialed that out and had a good race yesterday. But Ryan Sheehan putting the metal to the pedal right now and absolutely trying to drive away from this. And this is a good tactic from Ryan. What you don't want to do here at Mid-Ohio is being in a drafting situation for this front straight or down towards the keel or the long back straight. So he's trying to break him early, isn't he?
Yeah, the toe's really strong here, especially in the first half of the track. And getting clear of that is pretty important. And in these cars, it's just even stronger than what we have in F4. But having the draft can also give you quite a bit of a problem in the back half of the track in the S's and turn 7, 8, 9. I had a bit of an off early in the race yesterday, and it was due to the same thing, a little bit of aero wash, cold tires, and it just made me lose that gap.
Yeah, I think the big, what the guys are telling me is that the big changeover from F4 to FR is the amount of downforce you get, and therefore understanding and learning more about how that affects the car, especially aero.
Yeah, it plays a really big part. I mean, it takes some getting used to as well. The first time I drove the car, I was definitely overslowing some corners just because I had no idea how much grip really was available with those big wings. Yeah,
that's the point. It's almost a trust factor. The car can do more than perhaps your ability in your head, anyway, lets you believe you can do. And the engineer says, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. But you have to believe that to be able to pull it off. But you're right. Sometimes these cars can outperform a young driver when they're learning. And it's a case of just pushing it to the limit of your own abilities before you really are finding the very limits of the car, and then there's that sweet spot just behind there where you're not risking everything, you're just in the zone, as it were, and it's all coming together. But it takes time, as with anything, it takes time to learn it.
Yeah, it does take time, and sometimes with this car, it really produces more downforce and more grip than you think.
Yeah.
And there's so much that actually the car can do more than what your body can physically handle. We were testing at Laguna Seca, and just after that corkscrew, that long downhill left-hander, completely flat out. It's just a matter of if your hands and your neck can take it. Ooh, good move
Jet
by
Bowling
Jet.
Almost made the move. Thought about it, didn't he?
Diving deep in there.
Yeah.
Trying to make
But that's good, because if Matriano Lim had lifted there, that would have given Bowling the opportunity. So showing your nose, these two know each other well. They're in the same team. And his sister, this is Matriano Lim, that is. His sister's here, his mum's here, know them well, and got to know them. And it's a fun family affair. Former gymnast, of all things, Matriano Lim. but we were talking yesterday, it's helped him actually in his motor racing. You wouldn't think there would be a correlation, but he was his favourite discipline was the rings. So his upper body strength is probably better than most. As we look back at the number 66, Ryan Sheehan chasing another win, and yet has lost time now to both Ambiato and Woods Toff. Well, they've caught up. Either way, it's a much closer race than we had about a lap ago. So Ryan Sheehan putting in the laps, but he's under pressure still from the Chilean. Here he is, running between the USA and Chile at the moment. Had a good chat with him yesterday, and still a youngster, very softly spoken in Zambiato, but really nice kid, and really enjoying being here in the States and learning his craft. Obviously Chile not known for racing very much. Football nation, of course. As we look on sidelines, Gary Orton to the left, Stephen Giles looking up at the weather, former McLaren engineer. In fact, he engineered Mika Hakkinen back in the day, so a really interesting guy to talk to. And certainly, there's nobody can pull wool over his eyes when it comes to racing. He knows what it's all about, runs a team himself in New Zealand.
Yeah, Stephen's very good. He helped us engineer this new F4 car, get it really we went through everything out in a test before the season for about a week, got a great baseline on it, and Stephen's like a magician. Yeah. I've never seen anybody work on a car like he does.
He's dead serious, but once you start talking cars with him or setup with him, he's fascinating. He can hold court for hours.
Yeah, when he's in work mode, he's a bit he's a bit
focused.
Much, but he's a great guy, and he's just someone that is really valuable to our team.
Yeah, I've got to know him over the last 15 years or so, and really nice guy, and spending a lot more time over here now with the Kiwi Motorsport team. And like I said, they have their winter series, which they call a summer series, because of course down under it's the opposite. Their summer is our winter and vice versa. So as a really good idea, the Kiwi Motorsport team race both in the States and at home, and that really does give them a year-round chance to take some of these youngsters, as they have done with the likes of Bowling and Matriano Lim, and gives them a chance to learn all year round, and that is just huge value.
Yeah, it's really the track time we get with our team, whether it's testing here in the States or if we go down to New Zealand with them. It's just year round. There's never a time where you're not racing with these guys, and it's something that helps you become a better driver. I've changed a lot as a driver since I've joined.
It's interesting. So how are you getting on? How's your season?
It's a bit rough around the edges, especially yesterday with that whole safety car restart.
Yeah, what happened?
Just car in front of me, Lincoln, he just got it wrong on the restart, spun, and
took you out in the process.
Yeah, I tried my best to avoid it.
Yeah.
And but things happen. It's racing. That's all you can really say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this four-way battle now between Matriano Lim, Bowling, Hargrada, and Lawley starting to get a little fun in the midfield. 16 minutes to go, so plenty of time to make some moves, and it's the same at the front too, because at the moment Sheehan, the gap is officially 0.3, but you can see visually it's even closer than that. At the moment, Nicholas Ambiato from Davenport in Florida, but originally from Chile, just 16 years of age, and trying desperately to make his mark on Sheehan. And Sheehan really wants this because he's not had a chance to really... He started the season leading the championship, but then Woods Toff has caught up, and Woods Toff, our current F4 champion, remember, turned to FR. He too went down to New Zealand and has about 6 weeks down there, and was Rookie of the Year down there. So he comes with a good pedigree as the F4 champion. And a lot of good people, including the race director of this race, who is a Canadian, Scott Goodyear, say good things for this young man's future. He is a protege of Ron Fellows, another good race school, Ron Fellows karting and so on. And Ron spotted him and has been helping him. And like many of you, doesn't have the big money, does Woods Toff, to go racing, but has been helped and sponsored and winning scholarships. He won the Bradford Scholarship and also won money from his F4 Championship win to get in here to FR. So if you do progress, and this is true of Kirkwood and Dakota Dickerson and many others who've come through these two series, where there's a will, there's a way, right, Barrett?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Patrick's an incredible driver, and he's shown that time and time again. Even now, he's went from half a second. He's now closed up even closer to Ambiato. And yeah, I mean, if you have the pace and you really can compete and you win, it helps you progress a lot. I know at the end of this season, if you win, it helps you get to Indy next, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's just levels that assist you if you win. So if you don't have the funding, it certainly helps a lot. I know if you win the F4 series last year, Ligier provides a car for this season, as well as the championship gives you some money. And
I think that's important. You need those A, incentives, but B, help. Whether it be sets of tires or free fuel for a year or whatever you can muster. But there's certainly a full scholarship to go to the next level is really important. And that's true in the Road to Indy, it's true here in the FIA series. The only two FIA series in America, that's F4 and FR. We say FR, Formula Regional, you know it as Formula 3. And of course the FIA Formula 3 is the big international championship. Hunter Yaney, another champion of this series, has gone on to that level and has raced at that level. And as you well know, the likes of Kyle Kirkwood now racing in Indy. He's racing at Laguna this weekend. Malukas, many have come through the ranks, and it's great to see so many of them going on to success. Spoke to Dakota Dickerson, who took a different route with Honda, but went into sports car racing and is having a very successful career at the moment. And like I said, the rest is history for the likes of Kirkwood, who totally dominated a much smaller field than this in the day, just when this car came out. And I remember it was like a 3 or 4 man field, but we couldn't really tell whether he was really good or whether he just had a small field and didn't have anybody to fight with. The truth is, he was really good. Now we're looking at the 6 Havrada. Here she is, the Canadian flag and the maple leaves on the back of the car. I was talking to a mum earlier in the weekend saying that those maple leaves are only just stick-ons, and they tend to start peeling away very quickly. There they are, you see them there. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman, for doing a hell of a job and closing in on that for me.
Yeah, I remember at the season opener in New Orleans, the car was blank, and then I came back from lunch and it was covered in stickers.
There you go.
And but they've held on pretty well, considering.
Well, there's a great sticker on the car that also says the car doesn't know the difference. It's on the rear tailpipe of the, just before the back wing. And that is the name of the movie that they're making about her and her progress. And it's being shown on TSN in Canada, but it should be on YouTube. So keep a lookout for that, because it really is an interesting film about how you make it in this game. And I think that there's a lot of home truths there, and there's a lot of insight into what it takes to go racing and what it takes. So and she's a great character. She comes from a family of sportsmen who know what she's got to do, and they support her 100%. And boy, this battle at the front is getting good, isn't it?
Yeah, they're definitely closing up quite a lot. They're
only
separated by just a couple tenths. Patrick seems to have fallen back a bit, but Ambiato is just really closing up. He might go for a move into turn 4 here.
Well, this is such an important race for Sheehan, because he needs the gap he's got between himself and Woods Toff. And Woods Toff, I think, is in a waiting game at the moment. If Ambiato makes the move and gets past Ryan Sheehan, you might see Woods Toff put more pressure on Sheehan. But for now, he might just wait and see how that battle unfurls, because the battle for the championship, as I said, was just 6.5 points coming into this, but Ryan had extended that yesterday, and so Woods Toff really, of the 3 of them out there, really needs this. Ambiato wants to get in amongst it. He's not far behind, but so far this championship has been about the 2 Crosslink Kiwi boys, Woods Toff and Ryan Sheehan. And Sheehan's story's good too. He came to COTA, he's from Austin, Texas, from Horseshoe Bay, and he and his dad attended the WEC race, I think it was. Or was it? I can't remember, but it was one of these sports car races. And a young 9-year-old Ryan fell in love with motorsport and said, that's what I want to do. And like so many fathers, he was supportive, but didn't have, lots of money to throw at it. He's not a stroll, after all. Likewise, Woods Toff neither, brought up by his grandparents, interestingly enough. You look at Bowlesby. But yeah, Ryan just took to it and said, well, if you want to do it, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to learn how to gain the sponsorship for yourself, and that's exactly what Ryan has done. He's become a young entrepreneur, and he's doing a hell of a job at a very tender age, and is, I would argue, years ahead of his time when it comes to the back end. And Barrett, you know all about that. The back end of motor racing is the harder part. Racing is the fun part. It is exacting, and it takes a lot of fitness and a lot of discipline. Safety car coming out. We have a caution, but it gives us time to talk about this. Getting support, getting money, it's a constant job, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's something I've struggled with even early on in racing, and even now it still takes a bit of quite a lot of work on and off the track to really make those sponsors and get the money and keep yourself racing. It's expensive, and there's just a lot that goes into it. Recently, I've partnered with Make-A-Wish, actually, of Southern Nevada. Yeah, they're on the side of my car, and it's just a great partnership. I love what they do. I've worked with them since high school. It's been a big family thing for us to work with them, and now I get to work with them professionally. So
we'll talk a little bit more about that, because that's an interesting one. Make-A-Wish, one of the charities, of course, supporting Barrett Wolff, who you're listening to right now. He'll be in action later. We'll take a short break while we're under caution. We'll be back with more action from our FR race after this.
The Road America Speed Tour returns to Road America June 28th through the 30th, featuring the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series, International GT, PSSA, FRP, and Optima Search for the Ultimate Street Car. Saturday, you can take part in the Haggerty Cars and Caffeine Car Show with Parade Lab. You do not want to miss the Road America Speed Tour. For tickets, simply go to speedtour.net.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship, so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where the Crosslink Kiwi team are in a big battle. First and third at the moment, and we're under caution, though. We're not quite sure what the caution's for yet, but we'll find out. But that has changed things, because we had an almighty battle of the top three at the front, and they pulled away from the chasing pack. But that's going to change now. And it might change. Would it change your mind? Let's say if you were Woods Toss, would it change your mind in terms of your approach to the race, knowing that now you're all going to come together, and it's kind of at the restart now, all bets are off, right?
Yeah, I know he definitely was working on just keeping a gap and just trying to focus on pure pace. How much time is left in the race right now?
Less than, I want to say, well, it says officially 6 minutes, so
yeah.
It's going to be a sprint, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire, I think, with this caution. If they get it cleared in time, they'll only have maybe 4 laps to do, and he's going to have to fight for that.
I'd say, to be honest, if that.
You could have 2 approaches, either go for pace and just try to keep it clean, or you can try to fight for the position, and there's 2 sides to that. If you fight for the position, you could have contact, and it could make you lose everything, but the same goes for pushing for pace. We got mixed track conditions out here, and if you try to just stay clear of everybody else, there's also the chance of making a mistake, like what happened with what brought out the caution.
Have you done a restart from the front?
No, I haven't.
That's a real pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking.
Because just by instinct, the 2 guys behind see this as their only chance of winning the race.
Yeah.
I think to a certain extent Ryan was controlling the race pace-wise, and even though he was under pressure, he was controlling it well. Now, though, he's got to get this right. He's got to get the restart right. The good thing I know about Ryan, having watched him race for a few years, is that he's got a very cool head, really great for driving. There's no histrionics. He doesn't have that, he just has that nice, cool, calm switch that he can switch to and go about his business. So he'll keep his eyes on the Ginetta, which is our pace car. While the lights are flashing, we are still under caution, and when they go off, which is about halfway through a lap, that will indicate to Ryan Sheehan that are going to go racing again, and then he needs to get ready to both defend and accelerate as quickly as possible. This is where you kind of make your money in motor racing. You see it at the highest levels of Indy in the 500. You see it in Formula One. You see it here at the level that is Formula Regional. Critical part of racing. And of course, if you're the others, if you're Ambiato in second place, or Woods Top in third, or even Bowlesby in fourth place, you see this as your opportunity to finally get onto the podium in this race, where the chance to do that, certainly for Bowlesby, wasn't there a moment ago, because he was quite a distance behind the top three.
Yeah, he had a good gap between them, both in front and behind, just kind of hot lapping by himself. But yeah, if you're at the front, you're really going to have to focus on the hard stuff, like knowing when to go and catch the field off guard.
Well, as you can see, the Ginetta is accelerating away. The lights are off, and that means the control of the race is with Ryan Sheehan. He slows the pace down. That is his wont, and he gets the chance to accelerate away. And hopefully Ambiato and those chasing will try to stay with him. But it is a crucial time to this race. Just a few minutes left, and Ryan Sheehan accelerates out of the carousel, and that's a good restart by the 66 from Austin, Texas. Ambiato still put, and they're all still trying to put temperature in the tires by the looks of things, just in case, because it wasn't a long safety period, and so the tires won't be 100% up to temperature, but the opportunity for the overtake might have gone by the way, because Ryan Sheehan got away well, didn't he, Barry?
Yeah, he really got away good. I think he caught the other cars off guard with how late he went in the corner, and it definitely gave him a good gap. But with that toe, everyone in a long line of toes, it's gonna make him have some trouble.
Ryan was runner-up in the championship last year to Callum Hedge. Hedge moving on to Indy next and racing this weekend, actually. And so Ryan very close. It was nip and tuck between the pair of them, although Callum had the advantage of more wins. But Ryan kept him honest throughout the season last year and lost out, unfortunately, and then decided, well, you know what, I'll give it another year, because it was his first year in the series. Callum had a bit more experience under his belt in FR racing, and then they met each other again in New Zealand. Callum from New Zealand himself, and moved on. And Louis Foster was in that series as well. Louis Foster a winner in Indy next, so you know, what you're looking at here is just a step down from the big time. And I say the big time because Indy next, one step away from Indy. And of course, FIA F3, one step away from Formula 2 and potentially Formula 1.
And I want to go back to that, big off there from Jet. That New Zealand series,
yeah,
it's 5 weeks. You don't go a day without driving almost in there, and it's huge.
Well, it's one of the things I warned Ryan of when we went out there, because obviously I'm from Austin, he's from Austin, so we got a chance to talk, did an interview with him before he left, and that was 2 years ago, because he did the championship a couple of years ago, and of course he was up against Callum here in America last year in this series. But I said, 5 weeks sounds great, you go to a different track every week, but you are going to be mentally destroyed by the end of it. And he kind of smiled when I said it. Thought I was joking, but I said no. I said you don't get a chance to switch off. By the time you finish one track and done the data on the Monday and the Tuesday afterwards, you're at the next track testing for the weekend ahead, and it can be quite overbearing at sometimes. I've seen some really great drivers who come down with huge reputations from Europe, and then find themselves being very ordinary. You just can't handle the pace of 5 weeks of back-to-back racing. But that said, if you can handle it, huge experience.
Yeah, it really prepares you for almost everything afterwards. Like you're always going to be ready for that.
Final lap then. The white flag is out, and Ryan Sheehan's done enough, I think, to win this race. But now, can the 27 of Woods top? Because now he's been waiting, and he can't wait any longer. He needs second place. He needs the points to stay with Ryan, and he knows it.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get in his mirrors there and just put some pressure on there. I don't know if he'll have a right opportunity to make the move. I think the last chance you really get on this track is in a turn 4 with these cars.
Time running out then for Woods top, the Canadian. Right there with the tailpipe of the Chilean. But where can he make a move? He's not got many opportunities now, has he?
No, he's really going to have to think of something if he wants to get higher up in the points, but I don't think there's another opportunity that's going to show itself here.
So then, coming to the end of this one, it's been a superb run for Ryan Sheehan, who better start than the poleman Ambiato, who's followed him home. But as they come through the carousel for the last time, it's a sensational Sheehan here at Mid-Ohio. What a run for him. 2 out of 2 this weekend. Took the championship lead at Indy. Steve Giles and Gary Orton best pleased with that, as they should be, because that is how you do it. That is an immaculate run. That is a smart and mature run by Ryan Sheehan, and he is becoming ever more like the real deal, going all the way. And if he can win this championship for the second time of asking, i.e. runner-up last year, and the chance to win it this year, it would be a huge fill-up for him, especially for the sponsors he's got behind him. And I've watched him very closely, given that he is from Austin, know his dad and his mum. And yeah, it's just a great story. He runs Ryan Sheehan Racing. Look him up, and you can be part of it. You can be on the visor. You can do the onboards. You can support him. And a bit like you Make-A-Wish. I mean, let's just explain that. Make-A-Wish, great opportunity. They don't necessarily do it monetarily. Let me just do the results. Sheehan, Ambiato, your top 2 for Velox USA Speed Factory. Second place for him. Patrick Woods-Toth again for Crosslink in 3rd. Bowlesby 4th. Bowling 5th. I had that moment at the end there. And Havrada 6th. Lawley in 7th. Schlamoon, I can't get his name right. Schlamoon. Rico Schlamoon in 8th position. Justin Garrett and Kevin Jansen in 10th. But yeah, go back to Make-A-Wish. Great opportunity. And Ryan Sheehan, I would put a parallel to using the not necessarily normal factors to actually get sponsorship and get people knowing who you are.
Yeah, Make-A-Wish really, it helps me present myself, but it's a good opportunity to present them as well. And there's just a lot that goes into it. Being able to help and support kids who definitely have serious illnesses, and it's...
They make a wish come true for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. It's, you know, if you have that support in that way, it helps them fight off their illnesses as well. There's science behind that, and it's just a great opportunity. I've worked with them for a long time through high school and helped accomplish wishes that way. I've, you know, just built computers for kids and built, you know, also racing simulators and things like that. Funny enough. And it's, yeah, it's just something that's close to my heart and close to my family's heart. We've worked with them for over 10 years since I was a child, and it's just been a great partnership.
Yeah, I know that charity well. I had a business partner who was well involved, still is, in Make-A-Wish, so go and look him up. But you're listening to Barrett Wolf, who's been with us, and he'll be racing later. Give us your social, give us your car number, we can look out for you.
Yeah, car number 13, it's the bright blue and yellow one. My socials is just Barrett Wolf on Instagram. You can find me there, and things about Make-A-Wish and other things like that.
All right, thank you, Barrett. Well, let's take a quick look at the highlights of what was a really great race and an immaculate performance by Ryan Sheehan. That's the way to go. And from the get-go, right from the start, Ryan slung around the outside and took the lead and never looked back, and defended his position hard. Havrada in the middle of the action there, locking up, coming into 4 at the start of the race behind Matriano Lim and Jet Bowling. But there was plenty of good action. Woods-Toth stayed in 3rd and couldn't really do much about it. Ambiato was the best at staying on the pace of Ryan Sheehan, but neither one, that was a moment for Woods-Toth, but neither one could get past. Havrada had a good but without incident race, but didn't get the finish he wanted. But Ryan Sheehan, after that restart, he played it to perfection, and that's one of the most immaculate performances I've seen him put in, and that's why he's leading the championship. We'll take a short break here from Mid-Ohio. My thanks to Barrett Wolf. Good luck in your racer, and we'll be looking out for you. I'll be commentating on it. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Hope you have better luck than yesterday. But we'll take a short break. We'll be back from Mid-Ohio after this.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means turning some rust into rolling artwork. Built with Summit means you're making something that was already fast, even faster. It means that your project will be on the road or track long after you've bolted it together. And Built with Summit means you're doing it with in-stock parts, fast shipping, expert advice, and the best prices. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.